Hi, this is Andrew Clark, the Logistics Optimizer. Session 2 of the Fulfilment Forum. I was on with Elton Brown, a really very experienced demand planning inventory management guy. Elton was a lecturer at a course I did, and that's how I originally met him. He has a lot to say, which is really interesting and valuable. I don't include much of it in the clips here because I'm focusing on the stuff that I've focused on. So just be aware of that. If you want to see what Elton says, and it's well worth it, then go to the Fulfilment Forum in the link that I have in this, and you can watch what he has to say if you're interested in that inventory management and demand planning side of things. So in this clip, we're talking about billing. So I focus on 3PL billing in the warehouse and the kind of software that you use for that and the sort of things that you focus on and how to automate that. We also touch on spreadsheets and the trap that is inherent in using spreadsheets within a business. Not that they're not valuable, but anyway, you'll see what I have to say about spreadsheets, and we get general agreement from everyone who's been involved in a business where they're using spreadsheets. So hope you enjoyed this clip.
If we look at this through a 3PL lens, when we think about cost allocation and billing, what we're really talking about is tracking the activities, the physical activities that are done in the warehouse that actually cost you money, and tracking them through your warehouse management system so that you can then apply a rating structure to it in order to bill your clients. And 3PLs typically they'll be charging sort of two main types of fees related to their activity. One, of course, is the warehouse activity. The other one is the freight costs. So that could be their own transport fleet, or it could be freight that they're buying from carriers. In both cases, you will have, whether it's warehouse, whether it's freight, doesn't matter, the same principles apply. You will have a rating structure and you'll have a set of costs that you pay. So you need to understand, obviously, both of those so that you understand what your costs are for doing activities in the warehouse and what your costs are for shipping certain size and weight packages to different parts of the country, whether it's your own fleet or whether it's a carrier. And you need to be able to have a rating structure and calculate the costs and therefore calculate the billing amounts so that you are billing in a timely manner. If you don't have some established rates and the ability to bill both your freight and your warehouse activities, then what that means is you're going to have to work this out. You're going to have to guess, or you're going to have to work this out from your costs at the end of the month or something. Wait till you get the bill from the freight company and then figure out how much, what freight went to what client and how you're going to bill them. Far better to have systems in place so that you can calculate those, both the costs and then the applied profit margins that you're adding to that, so that you know how to bill. And then if you have that data, then what that allows you to do is bill much more quickly. Instead of waiting for those costs to come in and then figure out what the billing should be, you can actually go, well, I know what those costs are going to be, and then you can bill people more frequently and on a more timely basis. So weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever is the right cycle for you and your client. So, but you have to have the right technology in place to be able to do that. So you need a good warehouse management system, and you will need you'll need a transport management or some sort of freight cost management system suitable for 3PLs. And there's a variety of software that's available to do those sort of things. But yeah, so all of those are really key on the allocation and billing side of things, just on that warehousing side of.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. These things are, a lot. I think certainly in my history, a lot of people try and solve this on Excel. I'll just download data, I'll plug it into an Excel, I can run it on Excel, and it'll all be good. But as you mentioned, there is solutions in the market today that gather that information, during the process, and then bring it to me in a way that I can start to use it to strategically make decisions rather than actually spending 90% of the time just getting the data into a place, to allow me to then use it. You can spend a lot more time on the strategic sort of thought process rather than the actual data gathering and manipulation. Yes. Thanks both for a little bit of a feedback in that area. If we
can I just talk about spreadsheets just for like 20 seconds on spreadsheets, because spreadsheets. So we all know Excel is an mind-bogglingly useful tool, right? And lots of businesses run on Excel. But spreadsheets are a trap because they tend to be owned by a particular person. They don't tend to be, they're not a system. And so you've got one person who owns that spreadsheet and they might be brilliant at it, but then they go on holiday for 4 weeks or they leave the business and now no one knows how to use their spreadsheet. They don't understand the logic in it. And so transferring that business knowledge into an actual a proper software system that anyone can be trained in is just like, that's a huge leap that businesses need to make. So spreadsheets seem cheap, but they can be expensive.
Yeah, just with the knock-on effect. And Elton, I'm sure you've sort of seen some experience of that across the industry as well in your time.
Yeah, I thought my job at where I am right now at DMS was about optimizing supply chains, but it turns out almost every day is about trying to help people replace spreadsheets.
And we're not going to get away from that quickly, right? But it is, once you've got proper systems in place, right? People can tend to let go of them then because they're not sort of having wanting to build out their own data set. And certainly from again a little bit in my experience is you won't just have one person with a spreadsheet. You'll have 2 or 3 people in a business doing spreadsheets. And then you spend, the first half of the meeting discussing whose data came from where and is it right, wrong, or otherwise. And did I round up and you rounded down and why aren't we on the same sort of, page instead of actually talking about what the information is trying to point to, that's going right or wrong in our business.